Welcome back. We are continuing the Best Christmas Pageant Ever by Barbara Robinson, and we're on chapter 6. And it reads, Our last rehearsal happened to be the night before the potluck supper, and when we got there, the kitchen was full of ladies in aprons and counting out dishes and silverware and making applesauce cake for the dessert. I'm sorry about this, one of the ladies said to Mother. But with so much to do at this time of year, the committee decided to come out this evening and set up tables and all. I hope we won't bother you. Oh, you won't, Mother said. We won't be in the kitchen. You won't even know we're here. Mother was wrong. Everybody in the end of town knew we were there before the evening was over. Now, this is going to be a dress rehearsal, Mother told us all, and right away, 3 of the baby angels began hollering that they forgot their wings. Half the angel choir had forgotten their robes, and Hobby Carmichael said he didn't have any kind of costume. Wear your father's bathrobe, Claude told him. That's what I do. He doesn't have a bathrobe. Well, what does he hang around the house in? His underwear, Hobby said. I looked at Alice to see if she was going to write that down on our pad of paper, but Alice was standing all by herself in the corner, patting her hair. Her hair was all washed and curled, and her robe was clean and pressed. She had even put Vaseline on her eyelids so they would shine in the candlelight, and everyone said, Oh, who is that lovely girl in the choir? Why isn't she Mary? I guess Alice was afraid to move for fear that she would spoil herself. Don't worry about your wings, Mother said. The main part of a dress rehearsal isn't the costumes. The main part is to go right straight through without stopping. And that's what we're going to do, just as if we were going through it for the whole congregation. And I'm going to sit in the back of the church and be the audience. But it didn't work that way. The baby angels came in at the wrong place and had to go back out again. And a whole gang of shepherds didn't come in at all for fear of Gladys. Imogen couldn't find the baby Jesus doll and wrapped up a great memorial flower urn in a blanket and then dropped it on Rolf's foot. And then half the angel choir sang away in the manger while the other half sang A Little Town of Bethlehem. So we had to start all over again. A lot. I've got the baby here, Imogen barked at the wise men. Don't touch him. I named him Jesus. No, no, Mother said, flying up the aisle. Now, Imogen, you know you're not supposed to say anything. Nobody says anything in our pageant except for the angel of the Lord and the choir singing carols. Mary and Joseph and the wise men just make a lovely picture for us to look at while we think about the Christmas and what it means. I guess Mother had to say things like that, even though everybody knows it's a big lie. The Hermits didn't look anything like out of the Bible. No more than trick or treat. More like trick or treat. Imogen even went on. Pardon me. Imogen even had on big gold earrings, and she wouldn't take them off. Now, Imogen, Mother said, you know Mary didn't have earrings. I have to wear these, Imogen said. Why is that? I got my ears pierced, and if I don't keep something in them, they'll grow together. Well, they won't grow together in an hour and a half, Mother said. No, but I better leave them in. Imogen pulled on her earrings, which made you shudder. It was like looking at the pictures of National Geographics of the natives with their ears stretched all the way to their shoulders. What did the doctor say about leaving something in them? Mother said. What doctor? The one who pierced your ears? Who pierced your ears? Gladys, Imogen said. That really made you shudder. The thought of Gladys piercing ears. I thought she probably used an ice pick. And for the next 6 months, I kept watching Imogen to see if her ears would turn black and fall off. All right, Mother said, but we're going to try to find something smaller and more appropriate for you to wear for the pageant. Now, we're going to start again and go straight through. And I think I ought to tell him what his name is, Imogen said. No. Besides, if you remember, it wasn't Mary who named the baby. I told you so, Rolf whacked Imogen on the back. I named him. Actually, Joseph didn't name the baby either, Mother said. God sent an angel to tell the Mary what his name was. Imogen sniffed. I would have named him Bill. Alice Watkins sucked in her breath, and I could hear her scratching down on her pad of paper that Imogen Herdman would have named the baby Bill instead of Jesus. What angel was that? Rolf wanted to know. Was it Gladys? No, Mother said. Gladys was the angel who comes to the shepherds with the news. Yep, Gladys said. Unto you is a child born, she yelled at the shepherds. Unto me, Imogene yelled back. Not to them, me. I'm the one who had the baby. No, no, Mother says, sat down on the front pier. It just means that Jesus belongs to everybody. Unto us a child is born. Now, she sighed, let's start again, and why wouldn't they let Mary name her own baby? Imogene demanded. What did the angel do? Just walk up and say, name him Jesus? Yes, Mother said, because she was in a hurry to get finished. But Alice Watkins had to open her big mouth. I know what the angel said, Alice piped up. She said, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Almighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. I could have hit her. Oh my God, Imogen said. He'd never get out of first grade if he had to write all that down. There was a big crash in the back of the church, as if someone had dropped all the collection plates. But it wasn't the collection plates. It was Mrs. Hopkins, the minister's wife, who dropped a whole tray of silver. I'm sorry, she said. I was just passing by and I thought I'd take a peek. If you would you like to sit down and watch the rehearsal? Mother said. No, Mrs. Hopkins, who never could take her eyes off of Imogen. I'd better go check on the applesauce cake. You didn't have to say that, I said to Alice. All about that wonderful everlasting Father and all. Why not? Alice said, patting her hair. I thought Imogen would wanted to know. By this time, everyone was hot and tired, and most of the baby angels had to go to the bathroom, so Mother said we'd take a 5-minute recess. And then we'll start over again. She looked sort of hopeless. And go right straight through without stopping, won't we? Well, we never did get straight through. The 5-minute recess turned out to be a big mistake, because it stretched into 15 minutes. And Imogen spent the whole time smoking cigars in one of the johns in the ladies' room. And then Mrs. Homer McCarthy went into the ladies' room and opened the door and smelled something funny and saw the smoke, and she ran to the church office and called the fire department. We were singing Angels We Have Heard on High when we heard what was the fire engine pulling up onto the lawn of the church, with sirens blaring, red lights flashing. Then the firemen hurried, made us all get out and go outside. Then they dragged in the big hose and started looking around for the fire to put out. The street was full of baby angels crying, and the shepherds climbing all over the fire truck, and the firemen and all the ladies of the potluck committee, and the neighbors who came to see what was going on, and the Reverend Hopkins who ran over from the parsonage in his pajamas and his woolly bathrobe. No one knew what had happened, including the herdmans. I guess they figured out whatever it was, they had done it, so they left. Why in the world did you call the fire department? Mother asked Mrs. McCarthy when she finally heard the whole story. Because the ladies' room was full of smoke. It couldn't have been, Mother said. You just got excited. Didn't you know it was cigar smoke? Mrs. McCarthy stared at her. No, I didn't. I didn't expect to find cigar smoke in the ladies' room of the church. She rolled around and marched back to the kitchen. But by that time, the kitchen was fuller of smoke than the ladies' room had been, because everybody who was milling around in the street, everyone was milling around in the street, all the applesauce cake had burnt up. And of course, the ladies on the potluck committee were all mad about that. Then Mrs. McCarthy got mad, and Alice said her mother would be good and mad when she heard about it. And most of the baby angels' mothers were mad because they couldn't find out what happened. And somebody said Mrs. Hopkins was mad because Reverend Hopkins was running around the streets in his pajamas. It turned out to be one great big sinful thing that Alice had kept hoping for. Mrs. Watkins read Alice's notes, got on the telephone that very night, and called up everybody that she could think of on the Ladies' Aid and the Women's Society, and she called most of the flower committee and all the Sunday school teachers and Reverend Hopkins. And Reverend Hopkins came to see Mother. I can't make heads or tails of it, he said. Some people say they set fire to the ladies' room. Some people said they set fire to the kitchen. One lady told me that Imogen threw a flower pot at Rolf, and Mrs. Watkins said that all they do is talk about sex and underwear. That was Hobby Carmichael, Mother said, talking about underwear, and they didn't set fire to anything. The only fire was in the kitchen with the potluck committee let their applesauce cake burn up. Well, Reverend Hopkins looked unhappy. The whole church is in an uproar. Do you think we should call off the pageant? Certainly not, Mother said. By this time, she was mad, too. Why, it's going to be the best Christmas pageant we've ever had. Of all the lies she's told so far, that was the biggest. We had to admire her. It was like General Custer saying, "Bring on the Indians." "Maybe so," Reverend Hopkins said. "I'm just afraid no one will come to see it." But he was wrong. Everybody came to see what the Herdmans would do. End of chapter 6.